All right, welcome back. It is the next day and I am continuing part 2 of planting the fall garden. So we're going to get some kale planted. We are going to transplant the cabbage, and I'm going to go ahead and direct sow some more spinach and lettuce seeds this afternoon as well. And I'm going to start transplanting my Brussels sprouts. So my husband is planting some pelleted Siberian kale. My kids are a huge fan of kale, so I definitely want to make sure that is always a part of our garden. Here, typically with kale, you want to space them about 6 inches apart each plant. However, like I've said several times, once you get comfortable with gardening, you can start experimenting with spacing. And so we are actually spacing these about 3 inches apart, and they have done well for us spacing it that way. So we're going to continue spacing at least this particular variety, the Siberian kale. We're going to continue spacing it that way. I have a few other varieties that I'm going to plant for the first time for the fall garden, and because they are a different variety, I am going to follow the rules for planting those. But with the Siberian kale, at least in my garden, and doing it this way in this pallet, I have seen that I can do these 3 inches apart. But he's just putting the seeds in the holes, and then he's gonna cover them up. So you can see them, there it is. He's gonna cover them up with some soil. We're gonna give it a good water and just wait for it to sprout. All right, so yesterday evening I planted my spinach seedlings that I started about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I'm just going to come over right here in front of it to kind of continue on down this bed, because I want to do predominantly spinach and lettuce in the front half of this bed, and then the back half is going to be I have sugar peas planted here also. But down the front part of the bed, I want to continue on planting lettuce and spinach. So I'm going to plant spinach seed, if I can find it somewhere. I didn't bring it outside with me. Stand by. Love you. Thank you. Okay, now I have my spinach seed. So this is Bloomsdale long-standing organic spinach. This is a Ferry Morris brand. I think I bought this at Lowe's, maybe. I can't remember. I planted it in the spring and it did really well, so I wanted to plant it again this fall. Let's see. So germination period for this spinach is 8 to 10 days. You want to plant it 1/2 inch deep. Typically takes 45 days to grow from seed to harvest. And row spacing, you want it to be 12 inches, and you want your plants to be 6 inches apart. I did mine about 4 inches apart because once again, I've experimented with crowding my plants, and at least in my garden, the spinach does fairly decent with crowding, so I can get a little bit more in here. So I'm going to plant just a few of these seeds, and then in a couple more weeks I'm going to come back out here and plant a few more. That way I'll have a succession of spinach going down my garden bed. So that's way too many. All right, there are your spinach seeds. I'll just put some dirt on top of those that just fell off. Hopefully, maybe they'll grow. All right, so just like we talked about earlier, I'm going to use the little triangle method to plant. That way I can get the most space. I'm going to go ahead and move my spinach tag down. That way I can keep up with where what I have planted where. Oh, check this out. I'll squirrel for a minute. Let's see. Can you see it? Is it focused? Hang on. Can you see it? I don't know. Very cool. All right, sorry. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to use my little triangle method to plant my seed in here. I think I'm going to do 5. No, we'll go ahead and do 7. I like the number 7. So we're going to do 7, and it lines up perfectly where I threw my spinach tag at. I'm going to drop my seeds into each hole. That one's a bit too deep. Try to get a seed that fell. Cover it up, give it a nice little pat, and there we go. My spinach. Second round is planted. I'm gonna put the leftover seeds back in the packet, and I will store them in a cool, dry place in my house. That way the seeds will still be viable for when, if I don't get them all planted for the fall garden, when I come back to do the spring garden, hopefully they'll still be viable and I can plant them. So just down from the spinach, I'm going to plant some more lettuce. I love a good salad. I love eating sandwiches, and on those sandwiches I love to have lettuce. So this is what they call salad bowl lettuce. It's actually like a mix of different types of lettuce seeds, but it's like most of it's like a light green lettuce. It's really pretty. It's kind of sweet and it's very tasty. Once again, I grew this in the spring. It did really well. I actually grew it in one of my pallet gardens, and it did incredibly well. I was able to harvest a lot of lettuce off of it. So I'm going to plant some more coming down from the spinach, and that way we will have lots and lots of lettuce here in about a month and a half or so. I'm just going to slide you down with me. I'm just scooching. I was out here planting this past spring and just kind of scooched down the garden bed like I did as I was planting, and realized that when I went in to fix supper that evening, I realized that I was missing a couple of ingredients that I needed. So I loaded up and went to our local grocery store, which is a Piggly Wiggly. And I couldn't figure out why I kept getting weird looks from people. And it wasn't until I got home and I went to go get a shower and removed my clothing that I saw my pants. And the back of my pants were damp and brown. So I guess that's why I got a bunch of weird looks. I was pretty embarrassed once I realized that. So now I will change clothes before I go out and grace the public with my presence. All right, so the salad bowl lettuce, I'm gonna plant these about 3 inches apart, doing the same little triangle method. And I'm not gonna do it too deep. I ordered some seeds from Baker Creek a few weeks ago, and when you order seed from Baker Creek, they send you a pack of free seeds, and I got some lettuce seed for free, and it's called Tom Thumb lettuce, and I'm super excited to plant that, which you will see in a future video. I'm super excited to plant that and give it a try. It looks super tasty. All right, I don't know if you can see the seed against my super nasty hands. There you go. But there they are. Try to adjust the camera. That's about as good as it's gonna get right now. All right, so I'm just gonna drop 2 seeds. Some people will gasp and go, oh no, you're only supposed to do 1. But the way I was raised, aside from like radish, everything else, I just drop 2 seed in there. And then if they both germinate and come up, I can thin them a little bit later. These seeds are so tiny. They're like carrot seeds. They're so little. All right, I'm just gonna give these a good little cover up, a gentle pat. Good luck, grow well. And there's my second round of lettuce. So we have planted some more lettuce, or excuse me, some more spinach and some more lettuce right here. And next I am going to find somewhere to plant turnips. I have not had turnips, like an actual turnip root, since I was little, and I loved them. I guess as I got older, honestly, I can't remember if like my parents just quit growing them, or maybe I was just being a stubborn kid like most kids are, and I just like refused to eat them because I was going through some sort of spell. But I remember how much I loved turnips. I used to call them the big purple radish because I didn't really know the difference at the time. But I decided to pick up some turnips to plant this year, and I do not like turnip greens, but my husband does. I don't know if my kids do. I'm not sure that they've had them. If they have, it's been at their grandparents' house because I don't cook them. But if nothing else, I'll have turnip and turnip greens to share with my neighbors, which that will make me happy because I know it'll make them happy. So I'm gonna go find somewhere in my garden to plant some turnip. All right, I think I found the perfect spot. But I'm gonna have to crawl through a jungle of peppers to get to it because it is behind one of my cattle panels, and I still have an ample amount of Tabasco peppers producing, so I don't want to pull my plants just yet. But I'm going to plant these turnip seeds right behind them, so when it starts cooling off and my Tabasco peppers quit producing, then I can pull them and the turnips will have some extra space, and maybe I can plant a few extra. Speaking of my Tabasco peppers, we harvest these every week, like harvest them bare, and the very next week they are completely full of peppers again. We use our Tabasco peppers to make pepper vinegar. My husband loves it, but I think this round that we'll probably pick this weekend, I'm going to try to dehydrate them and just see how well that goes. All right, so I am getting ready to plant the Haas purple top turnip. I really like the seeds from Haas Tools. I've had a lot of great success with them. Turnips do good in early spring and fall. Planting depth is 1/4 inch. Seed spacing is 2 inches. Row spacing is 12 to 18 inches, and it takes approximately 50 days from seed to maturity. So all that's on your seed packet. But this is the Haas purple top turnip. I have never grown turnip before, so I'm super excited to do that. My parents had this in the garden when I was a kid, and I remember how much I liked it then, and I haven't had really any experience with it since. So I am going to plant these right here. I still have lots of okra growing to my side, but I give it probably another month and it will not be producing again. But let's see if I can get you angled down without you falling. I have you mounted on my fence, so bear with me. So these seeds are going to be about 2 inches apart, and I'm going to once again use my triangle method to plant them. And my rows need to be 12 to 18 inches apart. These seeds are super tiny, kind of actually smaller than a radish seed. Can you see that? So I'm going to plant some of these, and we'll check on and see how they do. I'm just going to dig a little ridge going across here and drop my seeds in and go about right here. I'm going to follow the rules for the most part since this is my first time planting them. That way I don't have a major crop failure. So I'm going to drop them in. I know you can't see all that well, and I'm sorry. Hands are so wet, they're sticking to me. Cover that row up real gently, get a little pat, do my row just a little bit closer. So I'm going to do a little bit of offset on it. Better dry my hand off. I always get nervous when I plant something new because anyone will tell you that they have high hopes and then they get a little discouraged and disappointed when they plant something and it doesn't turn out like they hoped it would. And I'll admit, even though I've been gardening for several years now, I still get incredibly disappointed when something doesn't go well. One more right here. And I'm gonna get a marker and mark this so I won't forget what's planted here. I'm also going to make sure I mark this in my little sketchbook for my garden. That way I remember how well things did here this year, and it'll help me remember what I planted here, but I can also kind of document how well things did right here for next year. And also it kind of reminds me when I need to do crop rotation. We'll do one more row just so I can get the seeds out of my hands. Alright. Let's see how that goes. It is incredibly humid to be 7:30 at night. Okay, so moth flew into me. Alright, so this is going to be the last thing that I plant tonight, and I say that I'll probably get distracted and go plant something else. But I need to go cut okra before it gets too dark because I had to work last night, so I didn't get a chance to, or no, night before last. I didn't get a chance to cut okra yesterday. Oh, I got some more beans popping up. Sorry, easily distracted. So, the next thing I'm going to plant, I'm going to go ahead and direct sow some more carrot seeds. This is Baker Creek heirloom seeds. This is an ox heart carrot. And this carrot grows kind of short and chunky, kind of like me. But this carrot grows short and chunky, and it's really good if you have like more of a dense soil, so your long skinny carrots don't grow very well in your more dense soils, and this carrot does. Or if you don't have like a deep area to plant, maybe you're doing like a no-dig garden or something, you can layer up a little bit of dirt and plant these, and you should be able to get some. So the ox heart is from France, and it was introduced into the US in the late 19th century. It has a massive heart-shaped root to one that goes up to about a pound per carrot. That is huge. Holy cow. Despite their massive size, the brilliant orange roots are crisp, sweet, mild, and they are great keepers, so they store really well. Your planting instructions for these carrots. Carrots require light, fluffy soil and full sun, adequate moisture, but only average fertility. Surface sow and press gently and provide consistent irrigation, best in cooler weather. So I am literally going to just rake the surface here where I plan to plant these. Let's see. Try not to disturb my beans that I have planted over here. Excuse me. Pulling out a weed, sorry. Let's see. Typically sprouts within 18 days. Ideal temperature is 50 to 75 degrees. Seed depth, 1/4 of an inch, so it truly is a surface sow, and you just kind of press into the soil. Plant seeds 2 to 3 inches apart because they do get kind of big around. They are frost hardy, so once again, great to have in a fall or winter garden. And you need to have 6 to 8 hours of sun per day. So that is the ox heart carrot from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. If you've never heard of Baker Creek, go look them up. I love the story of how this seed company got started, and kind of a little teaser on that is an ambitious young child who loved gardens. Alright, I'm not going to plant a whole bunch of these just yet, but those are your seeds. I don't know if you can see them very well. These are bigger than the other seeds that the other carrot seeds that we planted. Alright, there we go. And all of these seeds that you see me put in the ground today, I'm going to give everything to good water once I turn the camera off. But I'm going to try to plant these about 2 inches apart. And if you accidentally drop more than one seed into the soil and you don't realize it, you can come back and thin these seeds as they start to sprout. I'll see how big my board is. I'm gonna put a board over this just like I did my other carrot seeds, because we are still projected to get some rain over the next few days, and we have a subtropical system sitting off the coast, which means we have a chance of getting some pretty significant downpours over the weekend, which is like 48 hours away. So I know these seeds aren't going to root in that time, so I'm going to put the board over top of it to keep the wind and the rain from making these seeds go away. Neighbors coming outside. Alright, so I'm just going to just lightly dust some of this dirt that I pushed to the side. I'm just gonna lightly put it over top of the carrots, not even really piling it on. And then just give it a light little press so it'll be pushed into the dirt. And then I'm gonna go grab my board, which is behind me, and place it on top. That way it will hold my carrot seeds in place until they get rooted, hopefully. All right, so that is the board covering the carrot seeds that I planted a couple days ago. And here are the 2 boards covering the carrot seeds that I planted today. Nice little view of the garden. All right, I'm headed to the big garden. I am losing sunlight pretty quickly, so I need to go cut the okra before it gets too big and too hard to eat. I have plenty of pods that have gotten too big already, so I will let those dry out and save them for seed for next year. But I don't want to let any more dry out or let any more get to that point. So I'm gonna go cut my okra before I lose the last little bit of sunlight that I have today. Just to give you a quick little peek of how the big garden is doing. My beautiful flowers. My jalapeno peppers are doing well. My okra, incredibly tall. Still throwing off okra daily. Enough for me to harvest. All right, so I have lost all of the sunlight for the day. I'm going to finish cutting okra in our backyard garden by flashlight. I hope you got a little something out of the video today. Leave me a comment below if you have any tips or tricks for growing any of the veggies or fruits that I discussed planting today, or let me know if you're planning on planting any of these in your fall garden. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you will come back when I plant the rest of my fall garden. So it'll be one more video called Planting the Fall Garden Part 3. And like all good sequels, we will give it a nickname, I guess you could say. And the name will be, Will She Ever Finish? Just joking. But I do plan to finish planting the fall garden in the next video. And I hope you will come back and watch and join me in that adventure as well. If you like what you saw today, please be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the thumbs up for a like, and share with your friends. Once again, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a blessed day, and I will see you soon.